Out on the Lanai, our special spot. When the sun goes down, if it's not too hot, it's where we laugh, it's where we dream, where sisterhood's always our thing. We talk it out, we sip our wine. Our Gen X hearts still hold the line. The world may change, but not our ways. We've got each other through our days. Out on the Lanai, wine glasses with a healthy pour, sharing every joy and every pain. Outside, right next to the pool, full truth is our only rule. Never anything we have to explain.
Hey, where have you been? We've been waiting for you. Honestly, we just sat here for 2 weeks. No, right.
2 weeks.
So anyways, hey, welcome to Out on the Lanai, show 4. We're going to talk about immigration mostly, probably tonight, which is kind of exciting because we're trying to keep the topics light.
I don't know how light that's going to be. But...
Not very, no. And Dennis is joining us as a special guest tonight. So here in my very pink office, which is, it is perfectly pink, but it is a pink overload for a lot of people. So it's okay. Jamie, how have you been?
Good. I got my new car today.
She did. That's why it was kind of a lead in.
Yes.
What kind of car did you get?
A Range Rover Sport. It's my Betty White. And I had to let go of my Durango, which I loved very much and was very good to me over the years. But she's going to make somebody else happy. I might have shed tears when I had to let her go. But I'm sure she'll be in good hands.
Waterworks.
Waterworks.
The new car is gorgeous.
It is. It is.
Dennis, what have you been up to?
Nothing. Today I was off and I had to wash Betty White. So, I never have a day off.
Priorities.
Yeah.
We also sat at the dealership for quite a while. And then we went to a pizzeria where they apparently didn't have any pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That's interesting. There, I'll put the banner up. Let's see if anybody's talking to us. Because we do have some viewers. Welcome, everyone. Make sure you sign up for the show. We are doing a trivia contest tonight. It's going to be TV and music, so it should be fun. And with that, do we want to do?
So I have compiled top immigration myths. So I thought we could go through each one.
Yeah.
And then kind of speak on how they are myths and the truths that counteract them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first one I have is that the myth is, or the misconception, that immigrants take American jobs, right? I think we've all heard that a lot. And the truth on that is that it's really the corporations that are relocating, specifically looking for cheaper labor, more vulnerable workers. They're the ones that are actually stealing the jobs away from American citizens. And even statistically speaking, states with higher immigrant populations have lower unemployment.
Yes.
So, I mean, even like outsourcing,
Yeah.
like anytime you call anywhere,
But I had something interesting that happened. Well, I had a good conversation. We just recently changed our Wi-Fi network over, and the guy that came in to do the installation was from Venezuela. And we were chatting. We were just kind of discussing, what's going on right now in the country. And he was saying how, everybody's kind of scared because there's no American installer for this company. So they're all from all over, South America, Central America, even Haiti. He was saying there's not one person that's doing installations that is an American because they don't want to do the work. So they're having this issue where, they're scared to go to work now because they think they're going to get deported, and nobody's stepping in and saying, well, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this job because it's beneath me, right? And I think that's where it gets kind of interesting, because these people are, when they go away, who's taking these jobs over? Nobody is.
Right.
And then what's that going to do? This is the technology, I mean,
Mhm.
this is like installing your basic needs, right? Wi-Fi in your home. So we talk about these people are taking our jobs, but we don't want to do them.
Yeah.
So
And it's also migrant farm workers.
Yeah,
A lot,
double
especially
effect.
in the Midwest, in California, the middle of California. These are jobs that nobody is clamoring for. That
No, they're hard,
yeah,
hard, like labor intensive work.
well, and then we had the president who said only reputable farmers will be allowed to keep their people. So slavery? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah,
like,
basically.
you're allowed to keep them, they can be your slaves.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's turning into at this point.
and it seems like the whole, the context of what this is very much a shifting definition of morality and redefining history. It seems to be dependent on changing what is good into making it something bad, and then taking away all of the good that it ever did and making it contextually bad. But our president was from immigrants. My dad came over after the fleeing communism from Hungary, came over as an immigrant and naturalized. I mean, this is more the common
It's
American story.
not just the common story. Everyone here is an immigrant, whether they were forced here by the African slave trade or they came here from Europe. We are, unless you're a Native American, you are not from this country. Your family, your ancestors came here from somewhere else. This country was built on immigrants.
Yes.
That's plain and simple. I mean, this country wouldn't be here if it wasn't for immigrants. The first people that came here from Europe were fleeing from the British.
Yeah, and the dehumanization that's taking place, the
Mhm.
torture, I can't watch the news without seeing prisoners lining up SOS, so somebody hopefully sees them from the air in these death camps we're sending them to. This is not America.
It is America.
Well,
Even the cruelty,
It is
even like alligator Alcatraz. I mean, this is what everybody's talking about. And you go on certain pages and people are like cheering it on and saying, I hope people get eaten. And you're like, seriously, this is how we're supposed to treat people now. My parents were immigrants. They both came here from other countries. I'm a firstborn, US citizen now. And now my parents became citizens, but at the end of the day, it's like, everyone comes here looking for something, and
Yeah. or fleeing from something.
or fleeing for
Mhm.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the American dream, right?
Yeah, that's the promise, right? The American dream. But I mean, historically speaking, I mean, what you just said is just why we have historically always done this to immigrants. Historically, immigrants have always been scapegoat, like they've always been. Just depending on the time period, it was who they were targeting.
The
But it was
Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882,
Mhm.
right? Which made sure that they had almost zero rights whatsoever and kept them from coming, or they couldn't go back, but they couldn't. Yeah, it
that. But even prior to that, the Irish immigrants, the Italian immigrants that largely came here prior to that were also ostracized when they arrived and lived in poverty and tenements and all of that in the major cities. Yeah, it's
even the Red Scare that went through the 1920s and into the 1930s and 40s. I mean, it makes no sense. I honestly, I think that
someone to blame.
in going through this, the thing that I'm having the hardest time wrapping my head around was my dad, who was so racist. He really didn't. And yet he was here because he was granted a refugee status and allowed to come here fleeing communism from Hungary. It doesn't sit well with me, and I'm having trouble rectifying that.
I can't speak to your father's views, but I can speak to this another myth that people believe that the US has a very generous refugee policy. But the vast majority of the 3 million people who used refugee status to be admitted to the United States since 1945 have been from 3 countries: Vietnam, the Soviet Union, and Cuba.
Yeah.
And they were fleeing from communism. We have not given refugee status for people of war historically, devastation, repression. That is not hasn't been our policy. So I think that the misconception is that we are just generously giving people refugee status, but that's not the case. I mean, even living in Miami, I had employees that were coming from different countries in Central and South America that were not given the same status as Cubans, for example.
Yeah.
Right? Cubans have a different set of rules that apply to them in this country that do not apply to people from Venezuela or Honduras or any of those other countries.
Right.
So we generally are not we're not consistent with our policy for refugees, and forget anybody from Asia or Africa.
Yeah, and
Like that.
or even our citizens. I mean, the Japanese internment
Oh,
during World War II was
looks a lot like Alcatraz.
120,000 people.
Most of 2/3 of which were American
Most
citizens.
of which were U.S. citizens, lost everything they owned, were sent to camps
Mhm.
under horrible conditions. Many of them died in the desert of Death Valley. I mean, holy
And then when
crap.
they let them back out, they went back to have their homes were pillaged, their businesses were gone. They went back to nothing.
Yeah.
And it took the government over 40 years, by the way. It was Ronald Reagan that finally apologized and offered each family $20,000. $20,000 to make right that wrong. $20,000 is not, there's no amount of money that could right that wrong, but I'm sorry. 40 years later to apologize and $20,000, not
Yeah.
even close.
But even Trump's last go round, the outrage was kids in cages, and
Mhm.
now there's no outrage at kids in cages. We're deporting kids.
And taking their parents away from them in the streets
Yeah,
in places like New York.
But even here,
Right.
yes, I mean, even here, I had, somebody that was mentioning that the kid was in school. They called the parent, they were illegal. They called the parent and said the kid was sick. They come pick her up and basically ambushed him. So when he got there, she was here, she could stay, but he was getting deported. So he had to make a choice: leave her here by herself, or both of them get deported back to a country that they fled. So it's
And the kid probably has never been, or
no,
because
the kid was born
born
here.
here.
They were born here.
Yeah.
They didn't know this country, and so it's like now you have this choice. You can both go, or she can stay. You can go. How we're breaking up families.
Mhm.
We don't care. There's no empathy. There's no sympathy. Nothing.
No, because
No.
they don't see them as human beings.
No.
yeah, and that's a great question. How do we rehumanize people after this?
Well, they're all criminals apparently. So that's what it comes down to.
But that's again, it's the labeling and the propaganda, right? So when somebody says these things, these misconceptions, Jamie, which are 100% right,
Mhm.
we have to be clear in the messaging that these are families, these are human beings, these are not illegal anything.
No human is illegal.
Yeah,
There's no such thing.
and it's children, and this is the United States, which is built on immigration. This isn't a new thing for us that we're dealing with a sudden influx. And
Mhm.
I know that his language of speech got him back into the White House because people are very angry about a lot of things, but most of those things are left over from the bullshit mistakes he made during COVID the first time around. And it has to be called out. This isn't it. Our economy didn't tank because bad people, criminals, were flooding into our country.
No.
Fentanyl, nobody is shoving the fentanyl in our
Let's talk about language.
yeah.
Okay, because we hear that a lot, right? Go back to your country, speak the language, all that stuff. We hear that kind of sentiment. I hear it all the time. The myth is that today's immigrants are not learning English at all, and that bilingual education is a burden or a drain on our educational system. All right. The truth is that if we look at, say, Spanish speaking immigrants, all right, they are learning English just as fast and just as quickly as earlier immigrants of European descent.
Yeah.
However, the difference is, and it's more visible, is that they are also retaining their own native culture and their own native language, their tongue. They're speaking at home. Parents are teaching their children. Whereas if you look at my ancestors, who again were all immigrants, I do not speak Polish. I do not speak Spanish. I don't speak any of those languages because when they came, the expectation was you leave all of that behind. And imagine all of the culture, all of the experiences, all the food, all of the traditions that was lost in doing so. It was just blend in, be American. We don't
Great
want to have
American
any
melting
part.
pot.
Yeah, but it was lose everything. You didn't want to stand out. You didn't want to speak another language. And to me, that is, I can't have a regret because it wasn't my doing. But I do really feel very sad that I never was given the option to learn another language or speak another language. I have a couple of food things that were staples, but other than that, I don't know any of the traditions in Poland and in Spain and Cuba, where my ancestors were from. Your parents were different, though, Dennis. Your parents were different.
Yeah, I mean, they took longer to learn. My mom and myself, we learned watching Sesame Street and English. You know, my first language was Portuguese, my second language was Spanish. My third language was English. That was watching TV. And then obviously when I went to school, that's where I learned English. And I always joke and I say I think in English. So like that's how I'm more comfortable, speaking in English, but I can switch back and forth through all of them. And at home, it was never English wasn't spoken at home. It was just, it was Portuguese or Spanish, and that was it. And but we kept our traditions, we kept our, their friends obviously were mostly Hispanic, so Spanish was, what we spoke the most, but we didn't stray from that side of it, but everybody still learned how to speak the language and assimilate. And obviously you have to, right? I mean, you're looked down upon if you don't. And now it's even worse. I mean, now it's like I was just watching a video. These people are just getting harassed for no reason. There was two Hispanic guys in a car, and a white man comes out and was banging on the window and saying, "You're going to be extinct. You're going to be extinct." And he's banging on the window and he's trying to pick a fight with them. And I don't know how they maintain their cool, but at the end of the day, like this is where we are now as a country, where people think it's okay to do that.
Yeah,
right? That's not their business.
And a Canadian citizen died in ICE captivity. I mean, this is the brutality isn't just going to stop with the targeted. We know that it extends out. It will be anybody who isn't a friend to the.
But it also, they're targeting people of color. And so I want to speak on that, but also I want to point out, because y'all know this is my husband, one of the most attractive things to me about Dennis is how many languages he speaks. I cannot tell you what an experience it is, or it was when his father was still alive, to sit around the dinner table and hear the conversation and literally watch the man I love switch so effortlessly between languages and just do it with such grace. I mean, what I think people don't understand is that if you speak more than one language, you have a higher intelligence level, period. That is statistically, studies have shown. Your brain power, the fact that you can switch in between languages, the fact that you speak 3 fluently is amazing to me, because I can barely sometimes find my words in one language.
Right.
And so that I just want to say, because I want to put that out there.
Thank you.
But let's go back and talk about.
I married you
I
for
don't
a
know,
reason.
sweet. You know that sweet is not usually
No.
Let's talk about rules.
Okay.
How the rules look different for people of color, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of the time, and a lot of right now, what we're seeing is that they are specifically targeting people who look different, who are Asian. Right now, the focus is not on Asian, though.
Hispanic.
Right now, it's on Hispanic people who are speaking Spanish. And we've seen this anti-immigrant hatred throughout our lifetime in different periods. With COVID, we saw it with anti-Chinese, any Asian,
Mhm.
it was anti-Asian, like anything because they wanted to blame someone for COVID, so they blamed anyone Asian. But American people generally are not so smart, so couldn't tell the difference between a Chinese person, a Korean person, a Japanese person, a Vietnamese person. Like they can't tell, right? We saw it post 9/11.
Yeah.
Right? They were attacking any Arabic or Middle Eastern person, right?
Right.
They can't tell the difference between a Hindu person from India or a person who's Muslim from the Middle East. It is constant, just shifting. So this idea of hatred has always been present, and it is always prevalent with immigrants.
But let's call it what it's white supremacy
Oh,
is
of
what it
course.
is.
So it doesn't-
I mean, let's not wrap it up as anything other
No.
than white supremacy. Don't let them wrap it up in patriotism because
No.
that's just bullshit. And a shit wrapped in a shirt still smells, right? It's still
Okay.
it just
I needed to laugh. This is a very heavy episode, and so a shirt wrapped in shit still smells. Yes.
yeah. I mean, it's
I'll remember not to wrap my shit in shirt.
your shirt in a shit. Yeah, no, I mean it's they constantly attack everyone on the left saying we are policing language. We are not policing language. Cancel culture. Yeah, if you were a male asshole and preyed on people, you deserved to be canceled. Sorry, but yeah, I'm never going to feel an ounce of sympathy for the Weinstein brothers after
No.
the shit that they pulled.
No.
Sorry.
We need to talk about one other point, and then we need to do trivia because we are almost at my cutoff time where I need to get up and move around. So I want to talk about the misconception and the myth that immigrants are the ones who threaten our nation with terrorist attacks.
Oh yeah,
All right. So that's the myth, a widely held myth, right?
it's an invasion.
Well, yeah. But let's talk about the truth, which shows that there is no evidence that indicates any increased immigration increases terrorism. In fact, there is ample evidence to show that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to commit mass acts of mass violence or terrorism than U.S. citizens. Let's
Yeah.
think about all the mass shootings we've had, people. All right. They are usually white, male, okay, largely,
Mhm.
overwhelming majority, and they're US citizens.
Yeah.
So we can just kind of, and before you go on to your thing, I will say that a lot of the facts and information that I got on these myth points, are on a fabulous poster that I have in my classroom. It is on a website called Syracuse, like the city in New York, culturalworkers.com, and they have an amazing selection of all sorts of stuff. And this particular poster has the myths and the truths next to it, and I have it hanging in my classroom. And you got something to show and tell.
Jelly bee. Yeah, jelly bracelets.
Are you is Dennis gonna wear some?
Well, I got simpler times. So
Yeah,
going
you got
back to
video
the
games.
arcades, and then Jackson's downstairs.
Literally
on
playing
an
in the arcade.
on a
Right?
pinball machine.
Yes. Back
So,
to the
yeah.
future pinball machine. I think it was
Simpler
playing
times.
ET. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this definitely, I never, obviously was never allowed to have these back in the day, but they're fun and messy and take whatever colors you want.
You've got a lot.
There's a
Did.
Wow.
Oh, I'm dropping the shits all over, excuse me,
Yeah.
the stuff all over the floor.
It was a whopping $3 trip down to the 80s nostalgia.
Okay, here, I want to pick a peach one because I'm going to put all of them on.
Okay.
All right, and it's going to give me extra luck in trivia tonight.
All right.
Yeah,
And
no.
All right. I need a couple.
grab.
He's-
Okay.
all right, and for those of you who don't know us, like actually know us in person, Dennis and I are ultra competitive here. We are ultra
No.
competitive on everything. Two
No.
people that had to get master's degrees and competed who could get it done first so that we both won.
No.
And I've never played Monopoly with Dempsey.
Oh, you don't want to. I
No.
love her. That child is wonderful, but she's not a very happy loser.
It's a very competitive family.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. And so we do have game nights and it's
Depending on the game, it can be
Yeah.
not fun. All right. So
All right.
we are doing trivia's on what tonight?
all right. Let me add it to the screen. It's TV and music trivia.
Okay.
Share screen. Yes. Select. Let's do an entire screen. Let's do this one. share. It should pop up with us. There it is.
Okay.
I'm going to maximize it. Again, join the website if you want to play along. I'm going to start the game. Yeah, Twists of Tunes and TV Trivia Challenge. Again, ChatGPT or GPT comes up with all of this. So it was very upset that we didn't get enough of the trivia correct last week. So it's
we're
on
not
a
as the
rampage.
Day of rock stars as we thought we were.
Yeah, so we'll start.
And that was all on that game, though.
Oh, Gary Newman.
Okay. I don't know that person, but okay.
It was a
good.
very early new wave.
Okay, I didn't
You're
listen
running
to
this game like next in 97.
it. All right, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, Virtual Insanity, right? Jamiroquai. Yep.
Yes. No.
Yeah, correct.
No,
Incorrect.
incorrect.
Oh,
Oh.
Jamiroquai wasn't in the 80s.
oh, well, it was, didn't say the 80s.
It
Said
did say the
Yeah.
80s. It just said no.
Oh, no.
Treadmill.
I like that. I like Jamiroquai. Can you give me the CD so I can play it on my new car? Because it has a CD player.
What
have
year
to
did
see.
Whitney Houston release her debut album?
I want to say it's 83 or 80. It's got to be early. I don't know
I
which
don't-
one.
I think it was
83?
85. Right.
Oh, no. Pick one.
Yep. Vote. Which one?
3.
Great. C.
83.
83. I don't think we got it in time.
Darn.
We're too busy over here
Arguing.
arguing. Oh, God.
I did like Friends.
See, I did not watch.
We didn't watch it.
I should not.
We're slicker than Goose's Aviators.
Oh, God. Top Gun.
Goose.
I did watch Frasier.
Yeah.
We binged that.
Yes.
But I didn't watch it when I was
And
young.
now he's like a dick.
He was always a
Yes,
dick.
I know, but even more so.
Ooh.
Oh, video killed the radio star.
I think it's 81.
I'm gonna go with 81. I don't know. Yay! Flex that brain power. Roll that beautiful bean footage. All right, question.
Okay. Big bean person.
We've been to that big bean place.
Mhm.
It was a cool place.
It was.
It was cool.
We saw
The
the-
silo is shaped in a bean can. It was pretty cool.
Which song did not feature?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Come on.
it was.
Come on.
You got more right than the Oregon Trail.
I love the Oregon Trail. I liked it. I like Carmen Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego was the best one.
Back in the day, we didn't have
Wait,
much but
The
Oregon
word
Trail.
Yeah.
It's Carmen Sandiego.
Yes, it was Oregon Trail first, and then it was Carmen Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego is like a sleuth.
The landmark of what?
Oh, Woodstock.
Come on.
Bonnaroo.
Wicked smart. We're wicked smart.
Why
You
you
from
talking
Boston?
Boston
You
accent?
from Boston?
That's wicked smart. Now park the car.
Park the car.
No, pop.
Park. I said park the car. You park the car. Wicked.
Wicked smart.
This Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like, duh. You're brilliant. You already know that.
I'm not all that smart.
Sorry, Lynx. I never played that.
I had one. It actually was a good cartridge game.
I had a ColecoVision that we found in an abandoned car.
You're doing
There's
Abandoned?
always abandoned cars by my house. The disco genre, staying alive.
Yeah, it has to be.
Gotta be. Or YMCA. All right.
The Freak. You know what? But all of those songs, they made them popular again by putting them in kids' movies like Toy Story.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many songs that our kids all sing.
And they were all Niles Rodgers as playing guitar. He did that twangy guitar over most of the disco stuff. Oh,
Was it Michael Bay or
no,
Cameron?
Emmerich, I believe.
Wow.
Totally nailed it.
Lisa
Like Lisa
Frank on
Frank
a
on
unicorn.
We don't challenge Vicky and her movie trivia
No.
because she knows way more.
I get it wrong all the time. Hey, all right.
Okay, we did better. We
Wow.
got 9 out of 10 this time. It's the first
Impressive.
one that we got wrong. Or what?
No, it wasn't.
It was Whitney Houston.
No, we got it. It gave it to us.
Oh, it gave it to us. All right.
So
Ooh.
we got the first one wrong.
Yeah.
No.
No, we got the first one.
one right.
It was the
Oh,
second
you
one.
got- No, we got that right.
Our answer is B. The correct was A. It was the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jamiroquai one.
So
So are they gonna be happy or is it gonna be tears? Are they gonna get angry with us now because we?
I don't know.
That's a pretty good score.
When I ask it and it tells me to, kneel and obey, then
Well, maybe we should invite Dennis and guests on more often because we clearly did better when we had guests.
I mean, 9 out of 10 is not too bad.
No. It's perfect. All right. We will not see y'all
for 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks because
Well-
we are heading to Ireland.
Yes.
Yes.
We're
Oh.
still,
Yeah.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh.
We are. Yeah. Good. Close that out so that we could be back on the screen so we could say goodbye.
I'm trying to.
Try harder, Vicky.
Damn it. So much pressure. My
Fix
mouse,
it.
what the hell?
What's that?
I don't know. My mouse is not responding.
Oh, you got all kinds of fun stuff
Yeah.
happening.
You can't see her setup here. It's like a giant screen, except that it's not flat. It's like a TV you have in your living room, but a computer screen.
And
There we are.
And it's curved. So it's like, woo.
Hello, Ashley.
I can't wait for Ireland. So yeah, so we'll be in Ireland.
Hi, Barbara.
For the next 2 weeks?
By next Wednesday, we will be on our way.
Yes.
And the following Wednesday, we will be on our way back, sort of, almost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that I forgot that it was next week Wednesday, and I have not packed at all. Whoops. Got to get on that. Yeah, gotta start packing.
Right. So we will see you in 2 weeks, and everybody behave and sign up to play trivia against us because it's more fun.
It is.
We'll see you soon.
See ya.